All right. Thank you for tuning in to madzen.com. This is basically just a kind of an introduction to the idea and kind of an intro to who I am and why I'm making this website. I'm 46 years old right now and getting older all the time, but I still smile every day and I'm a very happy kind of guy. And I had a number of people who would always ask me why I'm able to be smiling at work all the time and not stress out and was able to relax under the most extreme circumstances while they're kind of running around freaking out. And over time, I've come up with a variety of things that have made me able to kick back and relax and really just enjoy life regardless of circumstances around me at any given time. And some of those, I've really kind of boiled them down to a few things. The main thing really being that a long time ago I learned society has a preset definition that we're inundated with from the get-go about what it means to be successful in life in Western culture. Little things like you're supposed to grow up, find that one true Hollywood style love, you will be like soulmates forever, oh you complete me kind of romantic comedy style perfect love affair. You're supposed to go to college, get a great corporate job in some office somewhere making an exorbitant amount of money. You're supposed to marry that high school sweetheart, have kids, and basically just like be religiously monogamous and faithful and never question anything. Just grow up, get a job, have kids, and that's really it. Like, that's the extent of what they tell you is really needed to be successful. And then it moves on a little bit past there with the materialistic things. Oh, you have to have the big house. You have to have the shiny new car. You have to keep up with the Joneses and always be buying things. Your kids' pile of presents under the Christmas tree should be so big you can't see the tree, otherwise you're a bad parent. You know, there's all these subsections of expectations. You are pretty much set up for failure right off the bat unless those happen to be things that you honestly do want. Now, the reality is, yes, there's a percentage of people that's with or without societal pressure, that is exactly what they have wanted their entire lives. Most people, however, fit into some sort of spectrum of dreams and goals that are completely able to vary from that path, and there's nothing wrong with that. America is supposed to be this melting pot. People come here from all over the world. We're raised with all these different cultures, all these sorts of things, and America has homogenized it down to you don't get to think for yourself. This is the American dream. This is what it means to be successful here. And regardless of your past background, your personal whims, desires, or dreams, you're unsuccessful as an American unless you fit within that mold. So they think you're crazy to reject that mold. You know, everyone, the vast majority, thinks that that's what you're supposed to want. So it's this crazy notion to not want that. So the idea of Mad Zen is twofold. The main one is if you really, really want to be happy, man, fuck all that. Pure and simple, embrace the idea that you will be happier by just being crazy. Fuck them, their idea that you're nuts for not wanting kids. No, if you don't want them, you don't want them. That's all there is to it. Be happy with that decision. And when people say, oh, when are you going to have kids? Don't feel bad about saying you don't want them. Just own it and be okay with that. You're always going to run into people, regardless of what you do, who don't understand your decisions. Don't make your choices in life and decide what's going to make you happy and what's not going to make you happy off of the idea of having to explain it to others. There's always those people who won't understand, and they don't really matter. It's not their life, it's yours. So you need to live it your way in what makes you happy, and we've got to stop worrying about what the neighbors will think. The idea that you have to be heterosexual and monogamous. Those are new constructs that are super, super permeated into this American culture of happiness and religious oppression ideas that if you're anything but heterosexual and monogamous, you're some sort of deviant. You're somehow, you know, less morally, aware, something along those lines. Obviously, that's bullshit. Let's be honest. One person being able to fit every need that someone else has for their entire lives, no matter how much you evolve and grow as people, no matter how many needs you have as an individual, the amount of pressure that it puts on both parties to be everything the other person needs and to never falter in that. You're a bad person, supposedly, if you don't meet all those needs, and then the other person's a bad person for ever wanting something that you can't provide. That's unrealistic, and it's crazy. That's why you see, if you move into the swingers community, you'll notice a lot of older couples are in that community. It's really just because they finally, after years of trying to live up to that standard, realize, man, life is longer than we think it's going to be, and you need variety. You need stability, yes. You absolutely need to know what you can expect and have someone you can count on and that sort of thing. But you also need variety, and you need to be able to feel alive and wanted and feel that spark. And one person isn't always going to be able to do that for you. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it is an unrealistic amount of pressure to put on someone you love to make them responsible to be able to do that for you. The idea that straight is the only acceptable sexuality. Gender is fluid. Sexuality is fluid. There's a giant spectrum. And on one far end is 100% heterosexual. On the far other end, you've got like asexual and things like that. The vast majority of people are going to be somewhere between one end and the other. It's a whole scale of things, and the majority of the world's going to fit somewhere in the middle. Even if you're just a little bit off of one side or the other, you're not able to admit that out loud in public and still be considered a wholesome American. I know myself well enough, and I'm more than okay enough to admit where I fall in the spectrum and such. And I'm a huge fan of women in general. I would say I'm 90-10. I'm 90% heterosexual, and I would say I'm a good solid 10% bisexual, as far as I don't see it all the time. But when I do see a man I'm attracted to, I have zero problem admitting to that. And it is definitely on a sexual level. I react like you when you're figuring out puberty. People who, just to digress for a second, people say, oh, homosexuality is a choice and you need to choose to not be gay. Well, I always want to ask those people, well, on what day did you choose to be straight? Were you sitting there in like junior high school and you go, today I've decided to embrace the whole world of puberty and sexuality, and I'm going to choose who I'm going to be attracted to. Who should I pick? Oh, okay. I was told that straight is the way to be. There's a girl, all right, and erection. It doesn't work that way. Everything in human nature is the opposite direction. We figure out what we're attracted to because the body reacted first, right? I remember very distinctly my first hard-on, and it was very awkward, and it was ill-timed, and it was unexpected. It wasn't the kind of thing that my young childhood brain had any clue of what to do with. So I wasn't thinking about sexuality. I wasn't thinking about straight or gay. I'm just sitting there watching some movie, and all of a sudden my body had a physical reaction that I had not experienced before, and it was confusing, and it was cool. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, ooh, what's going on here? I enjoy everything about sexuality. Even before I understood it, I was just like, okay, this is neat. Oh, it feels good. Okay, that's a bonus. I'm not gonna argue with this. To me, it was just like I'm hungry, and then all of a sudden somebody gives me ice cream. Woohoo! This is all good. So I don't see a downside to embracing anything that not only makes your body react, but gives you that that unbelievable level of joy that true sexual happiness can give you. I mean, it's sex. It's a major player. You know, food and sex are two things that if somebody told me I had to live without one or the other, oh my God, I don't even know if I would want to go on. I would be like, that's it. Take me now. I'm all done. You know, there's no reason to keep going anymore. So I don't want to even think about that as an option that other people can't enjoy simply because somebody else told them their choices, their reality of what makes them happy isn't acceptable to some stranger. And fuck them. I'm going to cuss a lot simply because these are topics that people are more than willing to oppress strangers over something that they don't get. Dude, it's not your life. Calm down. If you don't like gay sex, don't have it. You know, it's really that simple. Don't be mad at other people for doing things the way that makes them happy just because it doesn't make you happy. You don't have to understand it to accept it. You know, get over yourself. Your inability to accept my choices doesn't change the fact that they're my choices, not yours. So Mad Zen really is about embracing the insane idea that the cultural norms don't really matter. Man, just let it go. Be crazy and be happy and live by your own rules and enjoy yourself the way you want to. Regardless of how weird it may seem to others, as long as you are happy and you feel like you're being honest with yourself. Because that is the foundation of all unhappiness, is lying to ourselves about anything. You know, if I have to pretend that I'm this or that to fit in, no matter how much I pretend to be happy, I know I'm lying to myself, even if I'm good at it, which most people are incredibly, really, really talented at lying to themselves. They spent their whole lives building up this justification for why how they really feel isn't who they really are. And that's just not the way to live. So you got to learn first, who are you? What makes you happy? What do you need to be to actually be truly honest with yourself? Once you figure that out, man, just live it. You know, be everything that you want to be, just own it and accept the fact that other people aren't necessarily going to like it, and it doesn't matter. You know, if your family can't get behind it and support you for being who you really are, then they don't deserve your love and respect, because if I won't accept that treatment from strangers, just because you're related to me doesn't mean I have to suddenly forgive you for treating me poorly. And of all people, your family should love you for who you really are, not who they want you to be. And if they can't, well, then just move on. So that's just a generalized, very introductory kind of idea to it. We want to do a lot of podcasts and we want to do interviews and talk with people from a variety of perspectives. And really, I just want to find as many ways as possible to highlight to people who may be on that fence, who may be wanting and they're feeling that they're lying to themselves, but they haven't 100% figured out that that's what they're doing or why they're doing it yet. We want to show you stories and articles and conversations with people who they were in that same spot you were in, and then they finally just got tired of it and they said, fuck it, you know, I'm going to do what I want to do, and they've been happier ever since. So that's the first half of Mad Zen, and I hope you are interested and supportive, or at the very least open-minded enough to listen in and see what we've got to say, even if you disagree with it. I absolutely love differing opinions, as long as we can go into it, you know, with an honest, open mind and discuss it with the willingness to change our mind if new evidence pops up that's convincing. You know, absolutely. Come to me, bring me messages, talk to me, tell me why you disagree or any questions you may have. Open dialogue is the only way to learn to understand each other. A debate isn't a reason to hate. Debate is just a way to understand the other side and show each other that we honestly do have more in common than we have things that separate us. So once we realize that, it's hard to hate people once you honestly see, dude, they're just like me. They're just living out their dreams and their goals in a slightly different way, but they have the same kinds of dreams. We all want to be happy. We all want to be loved. We want to be accepted. We want to have a better life for those we care about than the ones that we had. Those are good, solid goals. We want to matter. We want to make a difference. We want to be respected and appreciated for the things that we do for others. Those are basic concepts that everyone everywhere can share. There's no reason to commit hate crimes because you think someone is different from you when they have all those things in common. The only real difference is how they go about achieving those goals. So once we realize that and once we embrace that concept, then we really will all be able to just get along. And again, thank you for coming to Mad Zen.